Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Heartless, a collection of Canadian cartoonist Nina Bunjevac's short stories, short comic book stories. I could be pronouncing that name wrong. I probably am. Nina Bunjevac. This came out in 2012 originally. This is the 10th anniversary edition from 2022. And let me just say, I wasn't familiar with Nina Bunjevac. She's phenomenal. This is some amazing, beautiful drawing going on. Once again, I have to mention, this is brought to us by a generous donation from the Archibald Gernsback Institute of Higher Comic Book Knowledge. Just a really great book. Kind of nice, got little flaps and everything. Little introduction from Jay Lynch from the original edition. And here's the title page. So you can already see the quality of her drawing. She's kind of a maniac with the pen. It's startling how good she is. And amazing that she's been drawing since the early 2000s and I don't really know anything about her. This first story is Opportunity Presents Itself from 2004. So this is our main character, this woman who lives in the Balkans. One day she gets a call from her Uncle Dino, who lives in America. He tells her about his wife who's fallen seriously ill and his cleaning business. And he invites her to come to America. He says, you should come. It's the land of opportunity. See how you like it. So he sends her an airline ticket. There's Uncle Dino. And she comes to America. He picks her up at the airport. He's telling her all these kind of like homilies, like, remember that nothing in life comes for free. When an opportunity presents itself, grab it. Just look at the crazy amount of shading, pointillism. She does tons of cross-hatching later on too. So she lives with Uncle Dino in a room. Her job, one of her jobs is to take care of the ailing wife. That's for her Reuben board, basically. She's, as you can see, the wife's doing terrible. I mean, she's got a breathing machine. And she says, I got busy at once. Nobody deserves to look like that. And she basically spends a lot of time just making her glamorous, putting makeup on her and dressing her up. I thought this was hilarious. Also kind of morbid and weird. So he gets her a part-time office cleaning gig through his business. So she shows up at the first day. The security guard there, Rosario, is very taken with her. He's all flirting with her. And Dino doesn't like it. When they walk away, Dino says, don't talk to that guy. She meets her boss, and she's very beautiful. So guys are always like coming on to her. So one day at the office, someone tapes up a picture of like a penis, a dirty picture, knowing that she'll see it. She knows that, like, oh yeah, that was meant for me. That was clearly put there for me to find. And it really rattles her. So she runs downstairs crying and finds herself in Rosario's arms. And Rosario's comforting her. But then we see Rosario's thought balloon. He's the one who drew it. He's remembering drawing it. Dino shows up to pick her up. And he's furious. And he says, from now on, I'm not chauffeuring you around. You walk to work. Did not like the fact that he found her in Rosario's arms. So much of this looks a lot like Drew Friedman, especially her earlier stuff, with the pointillism. But I mean, she's obviously her own cartoonist too. That night, Dino creeps into her room. She pretends to be asleep because she's kind of just shocked. And she hears him snapping open her suitcase. And he masturbates while sniffing her panties. So she just totally pretends to be asleep and is just horrified. So the next day she's at work. She's like, man, I definitely need a drink. but I got no money. My pockets are empty. So she says, ooh, Rosario, he's the answer. She basically comes on to Rosario, says, oh, we should get a drink after work. And he takes her back to his place. Oh, her name's Selma, by the way. God, her illustration is so good. Look at this great page of this apartment building, this great angle. And just the way she draws the moon. So he shows her porn movies. She's still kind of charmed by him. She's kind of hoping he'll kiss her. And then it says, one thing led to another. The last thing I remember was Rosario's voice. And somehow she's totally in this bondage get-up thing. And the last thing she hears is Rosario saying, I'm going to slip into something more comfortable. And then she passed out. This is a thing she does really well. Like where the narrator will just be saying something very matter-of-factly. And you'll look at the picture and be like, whoa, that's not what I expected. So she finally wakes up in the disposal room at work, lying on top of a pile of garbage, half naked. I guess Rosario just dumped her off there. Uncle Dino finds her the next morning, and he's even more furious than before. He's like, you whore. And he kicks her out of the house. He says, I've done everything I could for you. And she's reminded of how he said, nothing's for free in this world. Because he expected certain things, obviously. And now we see her many years later saying, that's the last time I saw the old bastard. Uncle Dino, if you're out there, thanks for nothing. I love this just last page. Look at this great drawing of her. She's now just a aged sex worker. Probably has been ever since that her uncle kicked her out. Just, man, look at this crazy cross-hatching. Just, there's so much of that in this book. She's a monster with the pen. Throughout the book, we see these just like one-page illustrations. Really nice. I mean, look at the quality, the level of this illustration. This is amazing stuff. Next, we have The Real Deal, 2005. This is a woman, it's a story narrated by a woman whose marriage is on the rocks. She doesn't know what happened. Her husband was very loving. They were crazy about each other. And then all of a sudden, he started withholding sexual favors and money and started becoming moody and withdrawn. And even though she's the narrator, she doesn't see this scene. We see the husband, and he's pawning his gold wedding band. So he's obviously having money problems. So the narrator is desperate for things to go back the way they were. So she decided to consult a fortune teller, Madame M. And she totally falls for the whole fortune telling thing. They tell you something vague about yourself. It's like, oh my God, that's so me. You totally know me. And she also tells, Madame M also says that you've been cursed. That's why you've been unhappy. And to the narrator, it makes total sense. She's like, that's it. That must be it. I'm cursed. So Madame M says she can take the curse off, but it'll cost $300. So she was broke, though. She didn't have the money. Here's another one of those understated captions to a pretty startling picture. Later on that night, Torvald came home from work in one of his peculiar moods and went straight to bed. And even though he didn't bother saying goodnight, he didn't even look at me. And look at her, how she is trying to impress him so much. I mean, this is like every husband's fantasy, I guess well, definitely any husband who doesn't believe in women's liberation. She's just totally dolled up to the 50s and to the 90s, and offers a beer on a tray, and he's just like, I'm going to bed. So she's lying awake in bed, wondering what she's going to do. We realize the husband really is just totally withdrawn from this marriage. He's just like, yeah, either stop crying or go sleep on the couch. He doesn't even try to say, hey, honey, what's the matter? Why are you crying? So she remembers that she has this heirloom, and a Hungarian ducat that her grandfather gave her. So she takes it to the pawn shop. So she gets $200. This woman's hair is crazy. And meanwhile, we see the husband down at the tracks. And he actually wins money for once. And he goes back to the pawn shop because he's got to get his gold band back. Because he knows if the wife notices that he doesn't have his wedding ring, it'll be trouble. So when he looks in the window of the pawn shop, he sees that Austro-Hungarian ducat. And he's like, I don't remember pawning that. I wonder if she knows it's missing. So he totally forgot. He's been pawning so much stuff. He doesn't even remember what he's stolen from his wife. So he buys it back with the winnings. He says, I better slip this back into her jewelry box before she notices. So our narrator has gone to Madame M and gotten her instructions to take the curse off. And she notices first a miracle. When she opens the little drawer, her ducat's back there. And she's like, oh my God. And then the second miracle happens. She hears her husband for the first time in months or years be like, greet her warmly when he gets home. He's like, honey, where are you? God, it's so good, this art. And he's got flowers for her. And it looks like she's floating towards him. She's so happy. And she says, I just knew that things were going to be different from now on. Madame M was the real deal. Here's some great single page illustrations. Obviously from old books about, circus, sideshow people, circus freaks. Here's The Bitter Tears of Zorka Petrovic, 2006 to 2010. This is a series of stories. I love these ones. So this is Zorka, I'm sorry. So Zorka, we realize from her narration. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a narrator, but it's like a prose narrator telling us about an omniscient narrator. And she's okay, so when we start off the story, Zorka a week ago had an unforgettable intimate encounter with this guy named Chip, and she's determined to see him again. She's obviously gaga about it. So she calls up his place of employment, Exotica Fantasy Club, and the woman working there, her name's Faye. And I love this, how it becomes a double narrative. So we find out about Zorka up here. I'm sorry, Zorka. And then Faye's got her own story to tell. Kind of equally sad, too. So she says, oh, I just got here. I don't even know if Chip's here. She also informs him that Chip doesn't really work here. Technically, he's kind of like a gigolo and all-around sex worker. So she says, I'll go check up on him, see if he's there. And we realize that Faye also is in love with Chip. She looks at a peephole and she sees Chip with this octogenarian. Apparently everyone loves Chip. So Faye is trying to go sober. Apparently she's had a problem with drinking and drugs. But the way they describe it as almost like, oh, she's just looking for any small problem in her day to send her back to the bottle and to the pills. So it seems like a very tenuous sobriety. She remembers the last time she saw her mother. Her mother just checked out on her when she was a little girl. She said, I'm going to go to town to buy you a dress, and she never came back. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure there's clues in the story that Faye, I think, is trans. And I'm not sure, though. It's nebulous. So just remembering her mother and remembering her shitty life, she's like, why the hell am I trying to be sober? Then she turns back to her old trusted friends, drugs and alcohol. And she just totally goes on a bender It looks like in an hour. She's at work. She smokes some pot. She starts drinking. She takes some pills. She's talking about her mother. Oh, mother, I love you. I hate you. She gets so inebriated that she totally forgets about Zorka's call. Zorka's just still on the line waiting for her to come back. We see her singing karaoke. I guess there's a karaoke machine there. So she's covered with all this hair, Faye. And there's this old client at this sex club. He's wearing diapers. And she kind of just accosts him and shoves her breast in his mouth. And he complains to the management. And Zorka realizes that she's never going to come back on the phone. But she still is resolved that she's going to wait for Chip's love. He's worth waiting for. So here's the next story, Alone in the Crowd. And she's writing Chip a letter now. While we're reading her letter, we see Chip at this, he's a male stripper. Appears to be a gay bar, but Zorka was there. And this is her remembering their first night together, probably maybe only night together. Kind of looks like that, actually. And it was love at first sight when she saw him on stage. I love these guys dancing here. So she never had good experiences with love. Just she basically spent her years drowning her sorrows, doing coke, trying to forget about love. And then Chip sits down beside her that night, takes her in the bathroom, and gives her a good scene too. Oh, that's the end of the story. Now we see the setup. And this is about Zorka and her sister. Her sister is has a church-going family, 2 kids, a husband. And Zorka does not like her. And she calls up Zorka and basically says, what have you done with your life, Zorka? I know this guy. He's recently divorced. I met him through church. I could hook you up with him. And she's just obviously not, she's like, and this guy does not sound like a catch. It sounds like he might have been abusive to his wife and might have been a rapist. And then it's strange, while she's talking to her sister, it looks like her boob pops out. And then there's exclamation points about it, or, comic things of something's happening with her boobs. Maybe they're growing. I'm not quite sure. And then she looks in the mirror, and then she has many boobs, like a cow, and not a cow, like a dog with its many nipples. I think it's just a fantasy. She's having a daydream or something. And then, of course, she tries to call Chip one more time. No answer. The sex club is now, the line is dead. Now we see the procedure. And apparently, Zorka's pregnant from that one encounter with Chip. And she's making an appointment at the clinic. In the meantime, she's kind of happy. She's reveling in the fact that she has freedom. She can have an abortion. She's in charge of her own, full control of her body. So she's having beers just to be like, I don't have to not drink. I'm going to have an abortion anyway. But she ends up puking and going to bed, sad and lonely once again. The last plea, and this is her writing a letter to Chip. And she basically says, Chip, I'm writing to let you know that I'm pregnant with your baby. Now, we could be happy together, you and I and our love child. And we see her little fantasies. They're very silly. Chip's riding up on a horse, like a character from a romance novel, putting a ring on her finger. They get married and they raise their child. I hope you'll see reason and give us a chance, she says. She says, I'll show up a half an hour early at the abortion clinic. If you show up, then we'll have the baby. If not, I guess I'll just get rid of it. So the letter never gets to Chip. And Faye is back. Faye finds the letter and she burns it. So ever since she's been fired from the sex club, she's been homeless, and she's barricaded herself in this bathroom stall in a mall. And she's soon apprehended. So we see her in jail, and she starts having withdrawal symptoms. Oh, look at this amazing, whatever the fuck she's seeing. Like weird little fetuses all connected. So Zorka has her abortion. And God, it's so sad. Such a sad story. It says, 2 weeks after the procedure, the bleeding went away, but not the heartache. So she still loves Chip. And finally, she's brought down so low, she calls up her sister and says, so, is that guy you told me about from church, is he still available? That shitty divorce guy? Man, her just cross-hatching and shading is out of this world. It's remarkable. Some more nice illustrations. Damn, she's good. And now we have Left, Right, Left, 2012. This is, I'm pretty sure, nonfiction, I assume. I don't see why she would lie to us. And this is about her talking about her family. And her father was exiled to Canada for his nationalist tendencies. But he was part of this kind of terrorist group, like a Serbian Liberation Front or something like that. And he actually was blown up. He was working with explosives, planning to attack the Yugoslav consulate in 1977. And I guess 2 years prior to her father's death, her mother, I'm just going to assume this is autobio, and this is Nina talking, not a character she's inventing, took Nina and her sister for a month to see her grandparents in Yugoslavia. They ended up staying there 15 years. They were raised by their grandparents. They were total hardcore communists. And I guess in a good way, because she says they instilled us with a sense of virtue and social justice. So she knew nothing about her father until she moved back to Canada when she was like 16. She met some of his old associates. They all consider him a great martyr and hero. And she kind of becomes part of this Serbian community, but she, pretty soon her ardor for it cools. And then we just talk about how Yugoslavia has been, the Serbian part of it. Just like lots of, like the Orthodox priests are like just preaching hatred, really rabidly homophobic. People are parading with just these, yelling out Sodom and Gomorrah. So she's kind of just saddened by the turn of events in her home country. And she visits her grandparents' grave, and she's very sad that there's just a crucifix, which is like, they were hardcore communists. But I guess after so she yanks the cross out of the ground. Oh, man. Nice stuff. There's Marlene Dietrich. Very nice. Now we have a story called August 1976. This is from 2011. Oh, look at this shading here. This is just masterful work. So this is another epistemological, story. It's a woman writing to her husband. She says, I've received the money you sent. The shipment of clothes arrived. We don't know what's quite going on yet. I love these. It's totally night, and this cat, which is, you can barely see him, it's like black on less black, slightly less black. She says that her child, the little one, she says, isn't in the best health. She's been taking him to the doctor. And she's basically saying the answer is still the same. I'm not coming back to you. So it seems like her ex has got their son, I guess, in the divorce proceedings, and she has the daughter. And we see this guy, and he's making a bomb. So this could be autobiographical. Well, not autobiographical, but about her family. So this woman is basically saying, you should send us money, even though I'm not getting back to you, but you should still send us money every month for your daughter. Whew. This illustration is blowing my mind. Where's she been all my life, this lady? So nice. And then it's I'm kind of confused by this story. I think it's almost like like a poetic story. Because then the voice says, Dad, this is the blood of the innocent on their hands. They call themselves patriots. They're terrorizing their own people. So maybe she's talking about her father's political group. They shout, kill the gypsies and death to fags, and in the name of Serbian fatherhood and the Orthodox Church. So it does sound very much like what she was talking about in that nonfiction story earlier. Is this the future you fought and died for? They asked their father. Rhetorically. Oh, God, this art is so nice. Just look at that. It's a beautiful page here. I have rejected your beliefs. Your battles are not my battles. The chain stops here. Oh, this is beautiful. These full-page illustrations are so nice. It almost reminds me of that guy Mirko Ilic, who's another Yugoslavian. He was in those like epic illustrateds. He was in a few of them. But just the amount of like shading and line work, it's really hard to believe somebody would sit in front of a piece of paper and draw that long. Next we have Poison Pen from 2019. So I guess this is a bonus story for this 10th edition. And this is obviously very different than the other ones. Just a very kind of a austere comic. It's almost like you're looking at some animation cells of a really cool animated movie. See the splat? I'm gonna try to crack this open. Nah, I don't want to do that. So it's slowly morphing. It's almost like an angry crowd with pitchforks is coming out of it. And there's the cover image. Somebody should animate this. And then we see one candle. And it grows into many. And even more. So in a weird, vague way, it does seem to have this hopeful message. You read into what you want, but definitely seems hopeful to me. And here's a little mini bio of Nina Bunjevac. And that's it for Heartless by Nina Bunjevac. Oh man, guys, I hope you appreciate this as much as I do. I'm blown away by this book. I'm going to find anything I can by this woman. She's amazing. Such good drawing. And I love her storytelling style. It's just very, like, bizarro. And I'm at a loss right now who it reminds me of, but the storytelling is it's just right up my alley. So, hope you guys like looking at this with me, and I hope to see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.